We are live now and unmuted. You guys can say hi.
What's up?
Holy shit. Wait, is Carmen really loud? Hold on.
I'm loud.
Got
Yeah, sorry.
That fucking 60% on him.
Sorry.
All right. Let's see. All right, welcome to like the random people that actually ended up here. Dean and I have been talking a lot when we were doing recordings for the Shadowverse content stuff, and then also the video with the My Hero Academia stuff. So we really want to get back on like trying to do weekly stuff again. I really want to do weekly podcasts because I think they're fun, even if we don't have anything worth talking about in as far as like Weiss stuff goes. I think it's still fun to like hang out for an hour and at least like talk about some Weiss stuff, other TCG stuff, and things like that.
I am always on the grind trying to think of how I can present good content for people to watch. I'm actually, like, not ironically, I actively try to think, how can I make something that people would like to watch? So we are trying to get content out there.
Yeah, it's a weird balancing act though, of like literally trying to like have content that we like to make and then content people like to watch. Because like if it's content we don't like, I just never feel motivated to do anything about it. And I think we're like in a bit of an identity crisis in a way right now. Is
My Hero Shadowverse?
No,
talking about?
No, not that. I'm talking about like in general dealing with I don't know if we should just like switch this channel to like mostly focus on English only. Like I'm personally burnt out on Japanese completely. Like I will play Japanese sets because I can, and it's like I can pick up the cards and read them. But like I don't know. Like the Japanese meta kind of sucks. The English meta kind of sucks.
By the way, thank you, James.
Oh my god, James is James. I'm back in California, but I'm leaving Wednesday, and then I'll be back again. If you're still here, hit me up. Let's go out for dinner or something. Or I need to go to HSI or something. I've just been too lazy to leave my house. And like the only time I ever leave my house is to like go to a local in Cerritos occasionally or like drive to Vegas. So hit me up on Discord or Twitter. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm with Kit.
Oh shoot. I have
if we're talking about like Japanese has become almost a parody of the game. In a way, especially the last couple sets. I don't know. You guys read these Azure Lane cards this morning?
Yeah,
dude, they have those are okay. First of all, I saw that Brainstormer. That Brainstormer is sick.
The Brainstormer's fine.
Oh, did I trigger?
Brainstormer is the least egregious thing. I think. But I was like, oh, Bomb Clean Cut. I wonder when they were going to print that. And I think it was Paru and Patty were talking about like how Bomb Clean Cut would be like unbelievably toxic because it turns this offensive profile into like a possibly defensive profile that you could puke first.
Do you know what was actually crazy? Because you guys are talking about custom cards. Do you remember my shitty MGQ set where my finisher was like burn like 3-7 times, but only if it's a low and you have 4 cards in memory? And then they come out with this like burn 1 through 7 at end of attack, and I'm like, holy shit, they like took my card.
Yeah, unironically, some of these sets recently have felt like people.
I guess I'm quiet on your end.
Oh, I can turn you up. Hold on.
I can be louder. I can always be louder.
And then I'll turn you up on Discord.
I can just move the mic a little bit closer.
It's but yeah, it's been really hard for me to like care about Japanese, because what I liked about Japanese for a long time is as a competitive player it felt like you were playing ahead of the English meta and you were becoming more accustomed to effects that would come, and that's still true like to an extent, right? Like I get to experience Quint's movie playing against it or whatever before that, unfortunately shows up in English, but like I don't think it matters so much anymore because the Japanese game has removed so much skill expression with how efficient, like double slot, efficient in effect and also slot efficient cards, where cards fulfill like 3 roles in one. And like the idea of like building a deck has become even more devolved than it already has. I know Dean has a lot of strong opinions on that front.
Yeah.
And
For
it's
me,
like it's just become almost worthless. It's like a meme. It's like you play these sets because it's like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if D side existed? Wouldn't it be funny if like this was a real thing? And then like you're like, oh no, it might become real in English.
So for me, the thing that's like has me more burnt out on Japanese, more than like, I mean, the power creep has been a huge thing, but people may know I live in the Midwest,
the middle of nowhere.
Chicago. I don't think it's middle of nowhere. We used to have like a 10-man locals. So I used to have like a 6 to 10-man locals weekly, and then I would have a bi-weekly locals that I would go to. Well, the 10-man turned into 3 players, 3 to 4 players. It's like every other week we get to actually have that. And they really do not want to play against Japanese, and I don't blame them. The more I think about it, why should they have to sit across from Japanese? And then the other locals I have to drive an hour and a half to, and we have 10 players, and then they play Japanese, and every time I sit across from the Japanese decks, I think I don't want to be here. Like I just don't want to put money into those.
I don't really care. Right? I don't really care anymore. I'm going to tell you, like, it sucks for Dean because the locals he gets to play with, like the bigger one, are just full of the most toxic people I've ever met in my entire life. Like actual garbage human beings. He doesn't have to say that. That's how I believe it. That's how I believe it, at least. Those people sucked the life out of me every time I was there. It was the worst. And like unironically, they were killing their own community. But you go ahead. That's my shit. That's my shit. Yeah.
I'm more a feel for like the sets I'm sitting across from, and I just like I feel this like horrible gap, and it's if I'm buying a set, I'd rather have the English stuff that's currently cheaper than the Japanese. Japanese, you're spending a lot of money on a play set. There's like it's impossible to liquidate. Like, by God, if you try to sell a Japanese set that's not like the current set, you can't sell the cards. Nobody wants them. And so putting money into Japanese feels bad. And so
yeah,
it's this thing where I only want to buy like my favorites, which I don't have a lot. I know I'm a terrible person when it comes to that side of the thing.
And you just bought like what, Million Live was your last JP set, and like
mine is $600 on my case, by the way. My EV on my case was my most expensive SP was $30.
You bought Million Live, right? And like I don't think that set is bad. I think people think that set is good. It consistently ranks in like the what the JP players.
I think it was like top 15 or something, but like on the lower end. Yeah.
But like still, in a way, Dean, it almost feels like you lost the release lottery because that set was released like after D-Side. After like right before Quint's movie, right? Like these sets that are so unbelievably pushed, it feels like, damn.
No, I don't care about that. Like, you telling me I fucking bought Lost Decade, dude. I don't care about the strength of my sets. What I care about is the fact that when I play Million Live, other than the Nexol list, which I should do a deck profile over, and I should show some gameplay of, the Nexol list is sick. And other than that, I have, like, when I play the new deck, like, because, like, original Million Live, I'm playing this deck that plays 2 different top ends and, like, actually 3 different top ends, like, climax searchers. I have all these pivot points, the ways I can tackle the game, and it feels cool. It's a cool deck. I love it. I love Million Live set 1. Power creep happened. It's not as good anymore, but, man, it had this place in my heart as one of the coolest decks I've piloted with the Makoto.
Yeah,
I get the new set. I get the new set, and every list I've sleeved up, every single thing of like with the new cards feels so bland. Like I don't feel like I'm doing cool things. The deck doesn't feel. It's better. It's a better deck. I'm able to kill people earlier. I'm able to do more. Well, not earlier, but I'm able to kill people with a lot less stock. I don't have to do as much, but it doesn't feel cool. And so it feels really bad that the set. Like I actually prefer playing 765. Where I get to stand by out the Mikis and I get to use the like bounce back to stock charge, and I get to use all the old cool cards like the memory early play, and playing cards like that feels a little bit cooler because so this is something that I personally, it's like why I moved away from Yu-Gi-Oh! I like my card game to be a little bit scuffed. I want to have like player skill to play the decks. And when Bushiroad is giving me decks that are so powerful, they need so little stock, and the deck just plays itself, and then like whoever hits level 3 first wins because you can kill from 2-3. It just doesn't feel interesting to play. Like it just, I don't know. I don't have any skill expression.
D side feels interesting to play, but not in a fun way. It's you do some cool stuff, and then you're like, this is just so unbelievably broken. It feels like you're playing a custom set.
Million Live doesn't feel like that. Million Live is just like my finisher came out for 6 stock and then killed my opponent.
I think the bigger problem is the gap you brought up, because I remember when Quint's movie and AOT came out at the same time.
I've never even seen Quint's movie.
I was trying to grind like AOT for Toronto, and it got to a point where it's like, I don't even want to like play out this matchup with an English deck right now, because like, yeah, this set's gonna come, like, sure, like whatever, but there's such a disparity in like every card my opponent puts down has an extra line of text, has 500 more power. Yeah. Like, and I was like, this is like so miserable. I'm not learning anything. I'm just struggling, because even when my games are okay, where like I'm like doing what the deck's supposed to do, it's like performing, it actually doesn't matter because I'm still losing because these cards are so pushed. So it came to a certain point where like if I sat down against Quint's movie, because there was like one player that was like looping it, and then another player who was like borrowing it and playing it, which is like fine. New set, I understand, play whatever you want. I was just like, you know what, like you could take the win if you want, but I'm just gonna grab Princess Connect, which also just came out recently, because it's like I'm not gonna like waste both of our time here, because this is practically a skip for you unless your game goes so terrible that like things go bad. And in Weiss, it sucks to feel that way, because I feel like Weiss is one of the games where it de facto doesn't feel that way a lot of the time. But the gap, not compared to like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like
Pokemon.
Or Pokemon, like it actually, like, feeling the gap was something that was like new and very, very unsettling.
But you said you haven't played for very long, right? Like you've only started 2019, 2018?
2018, yeah. But like
feeling the gap has happened a few times. There's been a few years where like the gap has happened. But like I don't know, usually when I look at the gap, I say, "Oh, you can just do this to counterplay," or "Oh, you have this option."
The biggest thing about the old days of when that gap appeared, it was never about like how good a finisher was or anything. Well, except when Murray came out. Was. Yeah, no. Most of the time before it, it was just like that set got better utility, or like
Vivid Strike. Vivid Strike was considered one of the best decks, and it came out.
I'm talking from the beginning to now. Most of the time, like, it was like sets got better utility, and then it got to a point where we're at now, where it's just like finishers are just stupid, and they require no skill, and they require like one stock.
Fake news. Two Love Rue. What is this?
Please,
oh my God.
Soy saucer.
James, take that man out to dinner, Kit.
I know, I have to.
Take him to a gourmet meal, please.
English only. I've been thinking about that. Like, I kind of don't want to be doing Idolmaster deck profiles, because I don't think that people care. I don't think that people care about Japanese Weiss. I see it shows in the numbers of views. Like, people just don't care. And
yeah, unless it's I will JP contest in Japanese.
Oh my God, Wild Hansen appeared.
Yeah, and I am thinking about how to make some really cool Weiss content. But like, the problem is all of it needs more people, and it's so hard to get people.
The one resource you do not have, because you're in the middle of nowhere.
No, yeah. I have the people. They're just flaky.
Crack the whip, dude. Offer him money. You got to offer him dinner.
But so a huge problem for me though is and this is a reason that you've seen a little bit less Weiss content from me, is not only my locals drying up, but a little bit of a lack of interest in a lot of the sets. Ruby was the last set, other than like Idolmaster, that like really made me want to sit down and brew with it. All the other properties I'm just kind of buying and sleeving up. Like Quint's, I'm not a Quint's fan. I'll buy the deck because it's cheap. I'll sleeve it up.
Cheap and broken, but go ahead.
yeah, but like it's not like it's like right. It's like $100 for a playset. Yeah, sign me up. I'll get that. But then it's like after that, I'm not like enamored with the show, so it doesn't make me want to sit down and like sleeve everything in the set and come up with, I don't know, Exodia, Quince, broken.
Alexander
combo.
also brings up a good point here. We don't have official Japanese events.
No, we
at
don't.
all.
It's this
And
thing that curses our locals.
I'm gonna be honest, and I hope to God someone from Rochester is listening. Like, I know it's not completely Luke's fault, because Bushiroad's obviously not giving him a lot because they obviously don't care.
I think Japanese needs to die.
But like literally, we've had effectively nothing since it went online. I'm gonna be honest. We've had effectively nothing. We had a few shops that were lucky enough in the middle of COVID to get in-person regionals, and they were small. A lot of them were entry gated. Most of them, even though this is usual for HOTC regionals, were 10 people or less. A lot of them were, even with like multiple invites, quote unquote, to Nats, which was online. Which I'm gonna be honest, we've talked about online tournaments to death. I don't think it fucking matters. Like, and it's just a terrible experience all the way around. This year, the online is actually slightly better because it's just like an open format, play for fun, get some foil promos thing. But like, are you really gonna get those promos? How many times have you actually gotten followed through with that stuff from the Japanese side of the game for HOTC actually sending you?
I have my promos.
Probably more than Bushi. Okay, well that's good. I've never actually.
Oh, definitely more than Bushiroad. If we want to have a fun little story,
yeah.
You want a fun little story? I think I need to do this on
that.
stream just to have this out in the open.
Yeah,
I judged.
It's just a bad situation for Japanese in the West. There's just literally no fucking like official reason. Therefore, no reason for people to care. They only play JP sets they like at locals, and that's just how it's.
Well, you know what I think is worse about the JP sets at locals? I think the worst thing about having that is like, cool, yeah, Marvel, Pixar. I myself would be sad because some of the JP sets are sick, but it's really hard to sell the game when half of the people in the room or more are on Japanese decks, and then especially when you talk about that power gap. Oh yeah, go buy AOT. It's the new set. It's really good. And then they get in, they're like, why can't I win? Oh, because your opponent's playing something that's never going to come out and is going to be banned in a month. Yeah. And it just feels terrible. It's like really hard. It's like an actual gatekeeping thing in the community.
It has. I used to not think this way, but it has gotten worse that the gap appeared. Like the fact that there's so much more of a gap. Because it did used to be like just more. It was just wider. No. The power disparity wasn't as great, but the power disparity is pretty big now.
Even outside of that garbage, like unironically, it sucks that the way that Weiss got a foothold in America early on, and probably outside of Japan generally, is through the Japanese community. And then when English came out, the Japanese community basically was like, you know, fuck that noise over there. We're just going to keep playing JP. And it got to the point where the Japanese players were like shit talking English so much to the point that they like brainwashed themselves to come up with any reason to hate English. It was so funny. Dean knows this, and I've seen this at other places where people were like, don't play English, it's too expensive. Just play Japanese where the cards are cheaper. And then as soon as English becomes cheap as hell and it's letting people into the community more, they're like, don't play don't play English because cards have value in Japanese now. Yeah. I was ready to blow my brains out when I heard that. I was like, what? Like literally 6 months ago, you were like, I'm only playing Japanese because it's cheaper. And now that English is cheaper, you're like not willing to play English because it's too cheap. Dude, fucking make up your mind. But not only that is like, I've seen people like early on who are really interested in the game itself. Like, Southern California is like such a unique like breeding ground for how Weiss became to be, because it was so heavily Japanese influenced that people who want to get into the game, I've seen this in SoCal occasionally, not as much because people are a little bit more willing to like look at Japanese cards or whatever and like look up for translations. but I've seen it outside of California. Also has had issues where people are like, no, I don't want to mess with a game where I can't read the cards. Like even as card game players, we all know in the beginning, like you could just see a card and you already know the effect, and you don't have to read cards like 90% of the time once you know the card. But a lot of people who are new to the game, like the casual market that's supposed to like prop up the competitive side of the game, like aren't willing to dive into this at all, because players just were, especially early on, were just like, no, there's no reason to play English. We just have Japanese or whatever. Let's just play Japanese. And then a new person comes in, wants to play. I'll use Dean's example of his first experience playing Weiss. Was like, he comes with his 2 Disgaea trial decks to a Japanese locals, and they tell him he can't play his trial decks because there's a ban card in it. Was like in 2018 or 16, right? Around there?
12.
2012, whatever.
Or like, 2013.
2013, whatever. Like, why are you trying to like gatekeep people out of playing this game when they're like trying to play in English? And like when they have to sit across people playing Japanese cards and they can't read the cards, and they're like, well, I guess that's what the card does because that's what you're telling me. You know, it just requires so much effort on the new players getting into the community. If the community is very heavily invested in Japanese, and it prevents those people, like, you're creating extra barriers for new players to get into the game, which sucks. That's why, like, I was asking questions on Facebook. If you see me, I've been posting the SoCal group occasionally and stuff like that. Is I want to find locals in Southern California that are exclusively English, and I want to support those locals. But there's like only like 1 or 2, like at most, and like it sucks because. Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just
I think the hard thing is, I mean, like, you know it. You like Sympho gear. I like kimono. Mine are a lot worse because mine are all like 7 years old. But like, you like Sympho gear, and it's really hard because we have that ingrained thing where we look at the Japanese side of the game to be like, man, Zombieland Saga just came out, and like it's looking like it's not going to come out, so I go and buy it, and then suddenly you're the problem, right? It's like. It is kind of like on us as well, because like we still buy. I know that like
I still do too. Yeah.
Well, I actually don't. I think after Pixar, I think I'm done. I'm gonna finish off my Vivid Strike Max Rarity collection, my Dog Days, and those will be things I have. But
I just bought Vivid and Nanoha. I bought Bar Vivid.
Well, is it Max? That's not Max.
No, it's not Max. No.
Maybe I could help you start that, but yeah, I think it is. I think it is definitely it's hard. It's definitely hard for us. Like, right, we've been playing Japanese. We're like, oh, it's not a problem if I show up with my Shioko deck. But it is a problem. It is a problem. Even if it's something stupid like Shioko, or if it's something dumb like Gigat Shooter, it's still something that's gonna gatekeep people. And so like maybe keep it for casuals, but try to transition. Try to transition to having the English locals. And try to support English more, because I think that's the only way we can see this game grow more and more. Because I know that we have more buyers, but if you notice, we don't have a lot more players. We have a few more players.
Going to lead into that. I think that the most recent things that Bucci has been doing on the English side are a little suspect. These only for collectors sets are not a good look.
Grisaya was terrible.
Oh, that was it's such another. Oh god,
Kano's bad.
I think okay. To be fair, I think Grisaya and stuff is okay. I understand why they probably are releasing Saikano, but at the same time, like you're like years too late. You've made the mistake, and then on top of that, like I was talking with Big B on Twitter, like. These power-up sets, okay, they're really cool. I really like the power-up sets. The problem is they're 5 years ago. Yeah, it's 5 years too late. You're releasing these sets that new players and new people getting into Weiss are going to see, like, I love Kill la Kill. There's a card game for it. Let me buy this set. The set's unplayable without the old cards. You can't.
How is it unplayable? It's $50 a healer.
Yeah, and it's a 48 card set with only 4 climaxes. You can't build a deck out of that. Yeah, like that's horrible. That's horrible for new people to get into the game.
So bad. Okay, well, but this is like what we saw when and I know I said this on our last stream, but you know maybe people weren't there. Back when Weiss started, back when I was first getting into competitively, was when Disgaea dropped. Disgaea dropped next to TLR. Okay, so there was this period of time in Weiss where in 2012, 2013, they were putting out surveys and like, what do you guys want to see? We want to release stuff that you guys want. And for the beginning, they were having sets that were relatively the same power level. You have Fate Zero, Madoka, Sword Art, Bake. All of these were all coming out at the same time, and they were all like early time in the game, right? And then out of nowhere, you have AOT set 1 and like Sao with the Zekin combo and Last Shot. But next to it, you have Haruhi. You have decks without climax combos. Like you have Haruhi, you have Disgaea. You have legitimate piles of unplayable cards coming out at the same time. And so there was this time when I was getting into it where it was like TLR, and then some people randomly bought Fairy Tail. And it's like the same year. It's like, how the hell do you play? Like, how are the Fairy Tail people playing this game still? like if that's what got you into it, where you buy something that was 5 years older than like the same product coming out in the same year, and they're doing it again, like, right? It's like the power up sets are really bad, but so is Saikano. Saikano's awful. Why is this happening?
It's at least we're getting set 2 along with it.
Yeah, but that's now a $350 investment versus a $100 investment. It's like your investment is much higher to get into the game at the same price point, and you have to wait like multiple months. So you're just like being told. And also, set 2 Saikano is not playable. I'm sorry, but a bounce back combo is not.
I mean, that's arguable, but at least it's like much more playable than set 1 alone.
You're like, now I have a peg leg instead of no leg.
The biggest problem with Grisaia and Saikano coming out is we're moving towards a you never have a second turn at 3 meta. And those are both decks that want to take second turns at 3.
I mean, we're not there yet in English, I feel like.
Not yet, but then it's like, isn't the bigger problem the fact that like I had the bounce back combo? Like, what the fuck does that do? There's no way that combo is playable in like
when the only standby deck running around is Quince, it does become a pretty like reasonable, because Quince doesn't hit high defense numbers until late game, where it's assumed your Oberos don't do a lot anyway. But like, yeah, the bigger problem for me is still the late game. When I think of Saikano, when in its heyday, its unbanned heyday, and Grisaia, when those were like 2 big decks in the meta, they were decks that really took advantage of like dragging out the end game, like repeated heals, efficient heals, muted finishers with high utility, like you get all this value off memory throughout the game. And that stuff doesn't matter when the games are 4 turns and you die from 2-3 to someone with 4 stock and a like 3 card hand, because that's what the meta's going towards. Like, and the environment that those sets will release into. And when we talk about this as a competitive player, I look at this release list, and if 7 Deadly Sins 2 doesn't come out swinging and actually change the meta at all, which I don't have faith that it will, if that Elizabeth Brainstorm is a double rare without a second combo attached to the same climax, and I know that's doomer to say after only 2 cards, I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to make an impact. The meta literally does not change until Atla and Chainsaw Man, and then after that Quince 2. And Quince 2 is coming out in August. Or no, that was the past Quince set. We don't have a release date for.
Yeah, we don't have a date.
We don't have a release date for movie.
I'm not as doomer as Carmen. I think that, but I do think that they are releasing a lot of garbage in between. I think that
the meta's static, Dean. Like, okay, how good does 7 Deadly Sins actually have to be to change stuff?
I think that
like final
not
season.
very. Weiss is like a pretty.
It does have to be final season or better, and I don't know if it can do that with this cards that it has. It's just going to be a solid, non-interact deck.
But that's like good enough. This game is
good enough, right?
Yeah, this game is.
There's good enough, and then there's make an impact. Ruby made an impact.
I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what you're looking for in your sets. If I can get a new set, take it to a tournament, and expect to top on a team, then I think that's a good set. If I can expect to top in a singles, that's a great set. I personally, Carmen, feel comfortable on most teams with a lot of the sets that have come out. Except for Rental. We don't talk about that.
It's more so about, for me, decks that force other decks to change their list.
Well, I mean, that's more like your deck building.
to acknowledge other cards. Okay, but if a deck is irrelevant and fishbowly enough so that you don't have like anything to do with it, then it doesn't actually matter. Like Ruby caused people to acknowledge it when they built their decks.
No,
AOT is going to cause people to acknowledge it when they build their decks. Okay, Dean, Neon Cat existing is enough for me. Something for you to think about when you're playing the game, when you play against a certain
opponent doesn't
set.
think. You just sink their card and they keep swinging.
Okay, it changes the way you play this hero, Dean. It does change the way you have to play a zero.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to see playable sets, and when you have stuff like Psychono 1 and 2 that are like literally not sets.
Playable is not enough for me. Because
well, you're also
okay, Dean. Kobayashi
you're more of a spy.
Playable.
Kobayashi is a little.
Yes, it
Kobayashi's
is. No.
below the bar.
Kobayashi is very playable.
It's below average, but I would bring it to a trios Kobayashi.
Me too.
Yeah, like I think 8 choice is a totally fine deck. I think that what is it? I think that if we're on that bar of sets being playable, the unbanned Psychono is more than playable, and Grisaya is also more than playable.
To be honest, the only bad sets this year, I would say, is like Rental Girlfriend and Dreaming Girls. That's it.
Like you say that now, but Dreaming Girl is going to be $1 million playset in a year. Just wait.
If you want to shift the bar that low, then we have to be a lot more reasonable about these upcoming releases.
No.
Okay,
because
listen.
My bar
Wait.
is a lot higher.
Well, you're okay. Listen, you guys
Carmen's
are like. I think the issue here is, Carmen, you're like you're complaining from a competitive standpoint. And I think Dean's complaining from like just a normal player standpoint, right?
From like a normal player, like just purchased to play at my local.
Yeah, I think that
not only that, but also Carmen's way more of a spike than I am. If you look at my track record, I play stuff.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And I make the stuff work. So
Saya by your metric is not a bad set to pick up. I think that Door Pants would do totally fine. Even if you brought it to a regional, it would probably do totally fine. That deck is pretty fucking good in a vacuum.
I feel like by that metric, even like Dreaming Girl's like fine.
Dreaming Girl had a couple things, but like
I
don't know. There's like
at that rate.
Pet peeve with the game is playing with a non-functioning human being not talking back to me. But most of the time, my opponents don't talk. Oh. Yeah, I've noticed that too. At locals especially, I like to talk a lot. I mean, at regional, I'll death stare you and wait for you to like implode. But yeah, at locals, I definitely talk a lot. I understand that. That's like card games in general. I've noticed there's like people who are like, I've got to think really hard. It's like, dude, we put $5 in the pot. Who cares?
I like
let's just have fun.
Yeah. Like, I think it's really funny because like I enjoyed like shit talking with you and Nico and stuff, and just like memeing around at locals and even like in casual games and stuff like that. But then there's some people who get like really butthurt, like, oh my god, my opponent talked to me once and said something that wasn't about the game. I hate you guys. You're a toxic piece of shit or whatever. Like there are some weird people involved in like card games sometimes. It just be like that. So it just depends on your locals, whether they're like really friendly and casual and like how they interact, or if they're just like antisocial.
It doesn't even matter if they're casual. It literally has to just do with them
if they have social. Yeah,
like because my locals is sweaty as fuck. I literally was trying to put together bad deck day like Jason has been doing, and these sweaty motherfuckers literally could not understand the point, and they were like, but I want to build Quint still. I still want to build Quints, and I had to like change the entire rule set so that they could try to build Quints, and they won't be able to because that's like not the point. The point is like a format where Gurren Lagann is the top of the fucking meta, like, and that's a really good deck in the meta. Like they like, and my locals still is like going out after every local to get food, hanging out, not even playing Weiss, just like hanging out, watching anime. Talking, like just being friends, like that's like it doesn't really matter if your locals is casual competitive. I think it's like completely a social thing.
It is.
Like I don't know. I just had to say that because my locals is definitely like notoriously like really fucking sweaty.
It does depend on the people.
Yeah,
it is a completely people thing.
whether they're normal human beings who interact with other normal human beings, or they're completely antisocial pieces of shit. I don't know. Yeah, are we just? Oh man, we are like so deep into just shit talking Weiss and everything right now. This is...
What? Well, I mean, it's. Are we really? We're kind of just like talking. I don't know if it's been like super. I mean, it's been kind of negative, right? Like definitely with the sets and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the company has been kind of like fucking us sideways for quite a while now. So
what's that? It's the problem of all the investors came in because Lamau. There's like 20 copies of a card, and there's like 15 of them are in the hands of people with. Like me, you could offer me like $500,000. I would not sell you to Skya. Sorry, it's mine. And it's like one of those things where like the community has a lot of people like me in it, especially the people who like the foils funneled to, right? That are just like, nope, never selling, dying with these cards. And these investors came in and just all of this money poured into these like random ass sets like Bunny Girl and whatever had a waifu in it, old ass Sword Art cards that were unplayable. And now Bushiroad's like, how do we tap into that market? The problem is those people need suckers, and they've like if you notice
every time too, because I think one of the big reasons it like collectible card game shit like started popping off was like a lot of people had way more free time when like lockdowns happened, and so like people got into collecting cards and like being involved in the community more that way.
Yeah,
and so those people got like really happy because I mean like what's that guy's name? Is it Alex? Alex Hodges is like
Hodges is the best dude.
He's like the pinnacle.
I like him.
Yeah, he's like the pinnacle of like a collector that came into the community, saw what was going on, kind of liked it, and started playing himself and being involved, which is cool. That's really cool. There are some collectors out there who just only come in to collect stuff and maybe flip stuff, and that's fine too, to an extent.
But there's a lot of people that came in for the sole purpose of money, and those are the people that I feel like these new sets are aimed at. Like, why are we getting Grisaya? It has to be the collector market.
Okay, did you guys listen to the Top Tier Tiers podcast where Hodges was on?
I did not.
Listen,
I highly recommend you guys go listen to that.
Listen, I was slighted by them, so now I refuse to listen to their shit again. For a while.
Top Tier Tiers is what actually got me. They were the only content that was like really out there back when I was learning, and I watched all of their podcasts.
Top Tier Tiers is how I got better at the game. That and the Patty's White Schwarz Almanac are like directly responsible for me as a player.
Almanac was like way too far back, or too new for me.
The thing that Hodges talked about on that, and Tom and Alf were also talking about it, is Hodges described it as there's not really players and collectors. There's players, there's collectors, and then there's the hornswoggling like flippers. And I think they're right. Hodges and them are completely right. A lot of players mistake collectors for these, their words, the hornswoggling flippers that are completely toxic, bad for the community. They are only trying to make a quick buck,
and those are the. I think those are the people that grade. I think those are the majority graders.
He had the fucking, what is it, like a Black Label Mai, like some people say the most valuable card in Weiss Schwarz, which like neither here nor there. But anyway, he was offered like a ludicrous amount of Pokemon product that was far greater in value. I believe, or no, it was Albedo. It was a Black Label TD Albedo or whatever, and he was offered like an obscene amount of like money for this stuff, and he turned it down because he's like, no, this character means a lot to me. The fact that I got this Black Label means a lot to me, and I'm never giving it up. I collect these things because I want it, because this is something that means a lot to me. This has a lot of significance to me. And I think that's admirable. That is a complete side of trading card games that is valid and good for the game, especially in a game that has these anime properties tied to it. And I think players really do confuse true, honest, heart on their sleeve collectors like Alex Hodges for these people who are flipping and stuff like that. Because to players, that line is a lot thinner than it is to collectors versus flippers, right? They just see someone collecting and then flipping cards or showing off their slab or whatever, and they go, fucking collector Omega Wall, get the fuck out, like go sell your card somewhere else.
Mine is always the people that have like graded like just random ass cards, and they're always asking some absurd amount, and they're like the people that are like, I went and bought, what was that video where this guy's like, I spent like $20,000 on Yuyute the first day, like I've never played this game and I'm just gonna go send all of these cards, and I bought one of every SP, and I'm gonna go grade every single one of them that I think looks good to try to flip. And I'm like, what the hell is this video? This guy's like showing Milky Home SPs off that are $7.
Like, bro, I remember that video getting posted. We were laughing because it's like, bro, you will never sell this card. It doesn't matter how much it's worth. That card dies in your hands.
It's funny because I think a lot of those type of people were the people who, like, during lockdowns and stuff, who suddenly became investors. If you remember, when like everyone and their mother was like got on Robinhood or some shit and started like investing in random stock and options and thinking they're like the next
dark bond of that. Yeah.
Also, I think another thing too that's really interesting about the parts of the community that have been like some of the most loudest. I don't think this is every one of them, but some of the people who've been the most loudest upset about like people coming in, show off collections and stuff, who aren't necessarily like the people coming in here trying to swindle people and like grade random cards like you're saying, but the people who have been the most loudest against like anyone saying that they're collectors or grading cards are also the same people who were like, screw English, you got to play Japanese, it's the only way to play the game. I don't know. I don't know if that is the same experience for you guys, but I've noticed a lot of the same people who like just hated anyone who did anything that outside of like doing Japanese cards. The community is so weird.
I'm gonna be honest though. I'm one of the people that really hates like the like super weird collector thing, like the weird financial gain, hoarding of product, hoarding of cards, buyouts. I hate all of that. I think all of that's really toxic. So I'm not a fan of any of that.
I think that's fair to be upset.
I'm a person with a huge market share in this game. I mean, I put out a video. My collection's closer to 6 digits than 5. Or 4. Yeah, there we go. My collection is massive, and I myself don't like the buyouts and the weird hoarding and the, you know, getting all these, I gotta buy out the world's promos and sell them for $20,000.
Yeah, but I think that's flipper behavior, because I think real collectors are like Alex Hodges.
Except for the one guy, thank you. You know who you are.
Like, it's just such a like terrible issue, and like going off of what you said, I think Weiss is just a small pond, and you have a small pond with a lot of big fish in it. Times change. Things happen. Things aren't how it was. And when things aren't how it was and you're not the biggest fish in the pond, or you're still a big fish, but you feel as if you're not, you start to lash out at anything that starts to not go your way. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Like, like Chihuahua syndrome almost at this point. For like,
it's like
Chihuahua
it's
syndrome.
One thing after another, right? Like it's where it's like, oh, like don't play English, play Japanese, and then the cope of the Japanese cards hold their value. Like
top 16
and then like fuck collectors, fuck this. It comes from this like small pond big fish thing that will always happen with this game. Because this game is always doomed to be small, which is fine. I like smaller, tighter knit communities. I prefer them. But
I think what you're saying is kind of right, but I do think there's like a natural disgust even among like the people who regularly flex like high value cards, right? Like there's still like a what the fuck is going on moment with like the collectors, where you're like, okay, a TD case is $750 distributor cost. Is that right, Kit? Or is it $800?
It should be about $800.
$800, right? Like for Ruby, I bought 4 cases of Ruby TDs. 4 cases because I wanted max rarity playset. Cost me, what is that? $3,200. Okay. If I had bought Mushoku, that $3,200 was $4,500 or more on release, because it's like absurd. Well, this is absurd to me.
That was literally, what did I call it? I called it arbitration through stupidity. Like that's literally arbitrage. You buy a product for $800, and then you sell it for $1,000, right, or whatever the Roxy went for. And the only reason
it went for $1,500 on release. It went for double the price.
The only reason that card sold is because of flippers, not because of collectors. I have enough faith in the actual collectors that they would not buy that at that price, because that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's what's absurd.
Actually cares about the game. So the only people who were buying that were quick buck flippers, and it was literally arbitration through stupidity. And I will call it stupidity.
Yeah, it is.
If you buy an $800 product and some idiot buys something from inside it for more than it costs to buy the product,
with the TDs, you're left with the sealed displays. People act like a sealed display is worth something. Sorry, I'll sell you a ruby sealed display today of TDs. I can tell you right now, you will pull a single triple R out of it.
Yeah, it's worth you, like $30. Would you sell me a sealed sleeve of TDs?
I would.
$30.
I would sell it, but it's on eBay. Right? It's on TCG Player for like 80 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just ridiculous. Like, that is something. I think that was maybe our lowest point overall as a community. The fact that Roxy was selling for $1,500, like. And yeah, it makes good clickbait. It makes these other things. I don't blame anybody for like making content about that, but like, that is insane. I remember the Big B's videos coming out, and he was like, "I cannot believe this card is going for more than the cost of the case at a distributor level. It makes no sense." And like, sure, yeah, you can say, "Oh, sometimes markets don't make sense. Sometimes people just want it," but that is still literally arbitration through idiocy. Like, that is what it is. It is because these flippers are uneducated and like not knowledgeable about the product.
Toru's scary too. That might happen again with Dragon Maid.
Yeah, it might happen with Toru. She's
big titty Toru.
Signed. She's not exactly signed. It does not have the same impact as the Roxy card, where the Roxy card is alternate art. The alternate art is lewd. It is a beloved character. It is a well-known voice actress with a very attractive signature. You cannot say it's not. She has one of the best on Weiss cards, because I have plenty of Summer Pockets cards with her on it, and like the Chicas and stuff like that, if you've seen those too. It is a very attractive looking signature. So you can't fault people for like wanting that card, but you can fault flippers for buying it for more than the case is worth. And I think that is the lowest I think we've ever been.
Because it's not like they're rare, right? Like, it's not like in like with like Pokemon. Have you seen like Pokemon pull rates? It's like 1 in 30 cases is where like each card like gets slotted. So it makes sense that like randomly you'll have a $200 card if it's like coveted. But like in Weiss, it's just, dude, did you pre-order the case? If you did, congratulations, you got one. And so it's very strange to see cards on release have this insane price. It's, I don't know. I've never felt good about that kind of thing. It feels wrong. It feels wrong.
One thing to note, I don't know if whatever. Clinton is saying in chat about JP Roxy being quite pricey. The thing about JP pricing is that it at least follows like the logical conclusion. Unlike English comes out, they see it's worth a lot in JP or something or whatever, and then they like overprice it like crazy. Whereas in JP, when that card first came out, it was a card that people wanted because the same reasons you guys said, and it's a playable card or whatever, and people need it in the deck. And it was priced at $300 basically on release, and it only got to like the $1,200 mark in JP months after like the supply is gone.
The deck.
Yes.
And the deck put up unbelievable results over and over and over again, being a rock solid, one of the most consistent decks to be played at that time. The second Symphogear got axed, Mushoku was riding high at the top for a long, long time. And was still played and still put up results, which just made it go up even farther.
Speaking of Clinton, one day we got to meet up. You still owe me money match $100. Batman Ninja, you want Batman Ninja versus Mob Psycho 100. Still gotta prove you.
Oh my god.
You're so sick.
You can steal my money. I know you're a better player.
All right. Just so you guys know, I have a hard out at 8:50 or in like 30ish minutes. Just so you know.
Okay. Well then, do you want to talk about the content we're trying to make?
Oh yeah. So wait, we're gonna do the Meme Monday shit, right? Or you were gonna do it, right? Or
I've thought a lot about Weiss content. Like what kind of Weiss content do people want to watch? And I'm sorry to the people who do like longer content. I personally want to have shorter content. The problem is it's impossible with Weiss. I don't know how to do it. However, I have a lot of garbage decks. I have a lot of old garbage decks. I'm tempted to do something like Meme Monday is what Hit wants to call it. I'll need to get some people over to record, and I'll do a deck profile. But the problem is I don't want to do a deck profile over like some old garbage deck just by itself. But now I need the other person to come and then show the deck off. So like it'll probably be about 40 minutes of video, 35 minutes of video. I do a quick 5-minute, 10-minute deck profile, and then I show the deck in action.
Is that the short content you're talking about? That sounds pretty long.
The short content I have some good skits that I need like 2 more scenes for, and I can upload a skit.
Well, we've talked about this before. Weiss needs a Milano. This game is so shit sometimes. Like
Harmon, I have some skits. The problem is the best person for skits is the Timothy Tussle.
Yeah, okay? I agree.
And he needs to get his ass over to my house with a camera. Because that would be good. Okay, being like Simo. Okay, listen here. There may be a plan for something like that. But by God, it requires 3 other people that are willing to be in front of a camera with me. And I actually have plans for something like that.
Are we getting to burn one TikTok channel soon for short content?
I don't mess with TikTok. You guys can do what the hell you want.
I'm not gonna do TikTok, but I definitely do have I have like 3 shorts recorded on my phone that are really bad.
Upload them. Shorts
I actually need to edit them is the problem first. But they're for Shadowverse. Okay, so the problem is I also have this identity crisis where sorry to all the Weiss players, but man, I really like Shadowverse Evolve, and I also really like Shadowverse. And I kind of want to have some Shadowverse content on the channel as well.
Yeah, God, I hope. Please bring Shadowverse Evolve to English. That game is actually legit really, really fun and really cool. It sucks because like we have a whole set review slowly releasing. There's another one that'll go live up, but not a lot of people are like into that content because 1, it's really hard to get the cards and there's no scene outside of Japan. But the game's like popping off in Japan. Like what was the last
1,826 players at the last regional.
Yeah, and the game is actually legit fun. After like I learned to play, I played like maybe 10ish games or maybe less than that games with Dean, and it was really, really fun. But yeah, like so.
Well, another thing is so like Weiss. So this is like another thing with Weiss content. I personally set a really high bar for like the content I want to put out half of the time. And like if I want to show games, right? Like people ask to see the Tokyo Revengers thing, right? I got a friend over who had the deck, but he wasn't like super good with the deck. I spent 2 hours with him to get him good at the deck, at the dual laner deck. Because somebody was like, I want to see this dual laner stuff in action. Like, how do you beat it? 2 hours of setup. Now we play 4 games. First game, I die from 1-5, and I go, damn, can't upload that.
What? I want to see that game.
Then the next deck, the next game, I refresh a climax, triple trigger, die from 2. I'm like, oh, holy shit! I lost 4 climaxes and 3 attacks. Sure. You know, I guess that happens, but I can't upload that game either. Next game, he misplays. You know, the 2 hours and the high must have happened. So like I destroy him, and I'm like, where do I where do I upload this? Yeah, it's comedy gold, but like I'm out here. I want to put out a video that's like, here's how you actually beat Tokyo Revengers, and here's what's happening in action. And then like I implode a game, I die a game, and it's like, how do I upload this? So at the end, I spent 4.5 hours, and I had 0 content to upload. It's great, and this is why you see the Shadowverse videos. There is a replay button, and after it goes back 30 matches, and so at the end of playing a deck like for 2 hours, I can just go hit the replay button, upload that. Yeah, misplays and weird things are the best content.
Nothing's ever gonna beat Dean literally making it to Worlds and then dying from was it 1-4 or something at Worlds?
Like, it was absurd. It was, and I remember
like Sander in an open lane.
I remember just looking at him and being like, "Oh no, I think I'm dead." And he's like, "No, you're not," and then just deletes me.
You fly halfway across the world only to get Weiss to that hard.
Oh, but thank God. Okay, so there's this thing in tournaments. There is this thing in tournaments where at the beginning of like at the beginning of a tournament, every loss just pisses you off, right? You're like, oh God, I can't fucking believe I drove here. I flew here halfway across the world and I got fucking sacked, right? Like you're pissed. But at a certain point, like after you've already lost, you're just like, it doesn't matter. Like, right? It just
yeah.
Like, and thank God that happened like at the end, because I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's got number 1 on his badge. Like, deletes me from 1-3 or 1-4. Like, that's just funny.
Got that fucking terrible game on stream. I was like, come on, we're going to the Family Mart downstairs. I bought him a strong 0. And we stood outside, and that's like, there you go. That's what you got to do. You just keep going. Can't get too pissed about it.
Yeah, it was the last round.
In a way, you're lucky, right? Think how lucky you have to be to hit that low roll.
Yeah,
how lucky.
The last round of Swiss, though, yeah. Well, see, my Worlds run. I was upset about my loss to Riaz, to be honest, because like I was in control of that game at Worlds. That was my round 1, I think. No, it was my round 2, and then I was actually knocked out of Top Cut by Kit.
You're welcome.
No, I wasn't. No, wait, no, I saw you and I was already 2-2.
That game recorded. It's shaky hand cam, but I have it. I have Dean shit talking the whole time too.
That's funny.
It was like so stone faced. He didn't even care. He was in the zone.
No, I knew I couldn't beat Kit's so lucky against me. How do you?
I don't know, dude. You just always get, you just always get screwed over.
Sitting across the table from me.
You're still the only person I've ever played against at a like regional or higher tournament that I passed for 2 turns in a row to immediately win.
Please.
Oh my God.
Do you think this game needs more memes because of shit like that, though? I think
I
that
do
like
too. Well, so
Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, we talked about this before. Yu-Gi-Oh is actually so bad.
It
but
is,
that
but
game
the content
sticks around because the content creators are like so strong, and they have so many meme content creators.
Okay. I'm gonna be
Milano and
but here's the thing,
Griff, like content creators that are completely propped up by their own memes.
But here's the difference, Carmen.
And I'm
gonna give some secret sauce out here for the people, because this is like, I've thought a lot about the clips, because I myself am trying to do a bunch of skits.
Yeah.
What's really hard about Weiss versus a game like Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh has like single cards that are funny. Mystic Mine is a funny card when you have like the Dark Ruler, no more Mystic Mine, right? Like that's a funny thing. Weiss is a little bit harder. There's not as many funny things in Weiss, and so it's a lot harder to make.
It's so contextual and long.
It's long.
Makes it so hard.
That's what I've been struggling with. I've got some stuff that I want to do that's like really unhinged, and I'm really excited as soon as I can get Chandler over here. But the Weiss content, we've talked a lot about like how do we make it good? Like how do we we need to minimize the amount of actual gameplay. You can't have gameplay. Like, right? Gameplay is too long. I think if you want something to be funny, it needs to be like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes long.
We thought about like this whole, well, this series is defunct now. I don't think we'll ever make it. Never have time. We had like this whole like Weiss Schwarz win idea where it's every video is just like lowercase like TFW like 8-bar fate, and it is just a clip of 2 people playing. Someone goes free fresh, trigger bar, blind stock bar, clock filter bar, trigger bar, and
That's
they go,
too long.
how many are you out? And they go, 8. Like it, but no, you can make that as a 1 minute video.
Yeah, my
Like-
skit's really good.
Like Milano skits are what, like a minute and a half?
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds to a minute and a half. You can squeeze that stuff into a minute and a half, but I think that like it has to be like quick play of situations people already understand, which I think is fine. But I think what makes like Milano's memes different is that I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh outside of Master Duel, and I watch Milano videos religiously, and I, as someone who does not play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, completely understand every joke in the video. And I think that Weiss can actually like making meme content. You can almost never get there because it has to be those situations where it's like, okay, I'm 7 and 21, like whatever, and like you eat 9 and die, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's funny once, you know.
So I have 2 meme videos that I don't want to spoil. And should I just announce the series that I swear to God, I'm about to just drag some people into Discord like this weekend, whether they like it or not, and I'm gonna get this thing fucking out by like in 2 weeks. It kills me because I can replace almost every.
It's your idea. You do whatever.
Should I do this, kid? Do I announce it? Do I announce it so that way I can be held up by the community?
Do it.
Okay, I personally have planned to basically try to do something like Team Samurai X1's Duel Night, but like progression series style. I have currently built 2008 standard decks. I have 3 of them built, and I need, I think some other people have built some others as well for this. And we are going to go through the years. My goal is to get one of these out a month. And I'm trying to pull the most charismatic, like energetic people in front of a camera, because I want it to be not only the game that you guys watch, but also us in front of the camera. And I want a lot of shit talking. I want a lot of memes. And I want to like, because like the difference, I watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content. I hate the game. I can't play it. But like the SEMO thing with like Gage and stuff, and it's how to like, that's what we need in the Weiss community. And that's what I want to try to bring is like the, you know, like, oh dude, like who knows? I got like some sick ass 2008 standard combos I made. like, and just like being able to like show that off and then like have like this thing that's like not only the game but also the players, because I think that's what this game needs to grow. This game has dog shit content. I'm sorry. Do I just go out there and say some like negative things about other people for a second?
I don't care. That's all on you. Anything Dean says, we don't endorse as a group. This is all Dean's opinion.
Okay. Well, I think that 40-minute deck profiles from other channels are absolute dog water, and I don't know how that's like anything that's acceptable in this community. Like, I think that content should be watchable, and when you're trying to get into this game and you're seeing like these long ass deck profiles, these hour-long like set overviews, and then like you can't find any content, like there's nothing consumable.
Right here, it hurts. Come on.
Huh? Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I know, like Carmen, you got like the set overviews and stuff, but like,
I'm running the rest of your beer back.
I know my analytics. I don't need your opinion, to be fair.
I know like that people watch it. I know that there's like a subsect of the community that watches it, but like it's how do you get new people in that like will watch something, right? And I feel like a lot of the Weiss content is missing the flair to get like, you know, really people deep in.
Like, sure, it's a different market. We've never tried to target that.
And Jason, it's not only your deck profile; it's a lot of people's. It's everything. There's a lot of people that do those.
Yeah, it's different. Dean, I think you should have prefaced that statement with
no,
you're targeting a different market.
I think those things are only for people that are like super into the game, but like, I don't know. I've like really thought about like the content that I want to put out and like what it is that people like.
That's still a different audience, Dean, because we have a lot of people that show and say that they appreciate that style of content. It is all competitive players
I'm a competitive player, but maybe I'm too deep.
You're at the other end.
I'm a maverick.
No, I'm not. I think you're targeting a shallower end, which is fine. It's necessary, but Jason's right there. I think it has to be well-spoken content. You have to have like a good idea of what you're doing, and you have to understand what you're talking about. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna try to text something Andy makes. He's gonna fucking talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have like a background about what you're talking about. The 30-minute deck profiles are out there because you're talking about a lot of card interaction stuff.
Well, I mean, when I've done deck profiles over Million Live, and it was 20 minutes, and that was like a pretty I
mean, our deck profiles average between 20 to 30 minutes.
I do know everything. I don't understand why stacks aren't complicated. Like, dude, like MBT does 10-minute testings where he talks about a deck and shows it to you in 10 minutes.
I think that
honestly, I'm kind of listen. I don't care if this is like a hot take or some shit. I think Dean is kind of right. Like when it comes to Weiss, when you look at a deck and you like play it once or twice, you know about 90% of the things about the deck. I can't even
get through locals. I go to a 4-round locals, and by round 2, I know what my deck does, and I feel miserable or okay about it. And then I have 2 more rounds, and I'm like, I don't even need these to like know anything else about this. Yeah, I know it's Million Life, nobody cares, but I'm saying that was a deck that had a lot of intricacies, right? And like that took me 20 minutes. I think that if as a community we put out shorter content. No, that's also wrong. That's somewhat wrong.
I'm more on the agree with Jason here. I think that it's just content for a different audience. If you just take a lot of things as granted and you don't explain like why the card's being run, what's that, and you just.
But the thing is, Carmen, look at your set reviews. We talk and we grade drop searchers, we grade Rickies and brainstorms. Carmen, these are the same cards in every set. That's my problem. And so, like, your content when you do a deck profile and it's a clock plus, you just say clock plus. Boom! It doesn't matter. That's a clock plus. That you play that because you have to in the game. Only like 5 or 6 cards in your deck fucking matter.
Dean, we have done a deconstructed, more laser-focused set review one time, and we had one of the most knowledgeable people for that set that we could have possibly had on that deck profile, on that set review, which was Ryan for Madoka. And you know what every fucking comment said and every fucking piece of feedback I got on that video was? Why didn't you review the whole set? Why did you not review the entirety of Madoka Mobigate Booster? A completely outdated, mostly irrelevant booster of cards that are completely overwritten by the newer Madoka set that comes out. And I was just like, I'm just telling you.
I know,
you are
Carmen.
coming
I've done
from
these.
a different angle. You are coming from a different angle, and there are a lot of people that want and appreciate that kind of content. I think there is room for both, but I think saying one is completely wrong is completely untrue. And because we literally have the stats and the view numbers and people who are very appreciative that kind of content exists. And you know what kind of content was out there that even you said that you consumed and enjoyed?
Top tier tiers, yeah.
Top tier tiers.
No. It was okay. It was literally
and they don't do
other Weiss content.
And they don't do that anymore. And there are a lot of people who still want that kind of content.
And I do think
that is the lane we're in.
Okay, well,
we're gonna keep doing it, and that's the people who like it. You are free to do other stuff, but calling it wrong just because that is what you want to see is wrong. Just go and make what you want to see.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I want to do. But that's the thing is like the fact is it feels like as a community, a lot of people just say like that's the only thing. Like like new channel pops up, boom, set reviews, boom. Like something, it's like 40-minute deck profiles are actually like more of the norm, right? That's the thing though, is here's some little bit of shit talk. Connor's English Corner, I'll never forget. Here's 2 deck lists, an hour-and-a-half video. Like, right? It's like it feels like every time I see content for this game, it is like overly long, and that's like more of my complaint was. It's not just like one person. It's
sure. All right. I think there's a market for shorter content, more directed content that might be a little shallower unless you're in the know, which is fine. But like, then that's a completely different lane of content.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'm cutting us off here because at this point I feel like you guys are trying to draw blood from a stone. So I have roughly 10 minutes left. So if you want to switch to a topic that we really want to talk about or anything else, you need to do it now because I have a hard out in about 10. Any of the other stuff? Oh, one thing I
need more short form content. I just don't think it's the only content we should have.
One thing, this isn't Weiss related, but I actually might record a bunch of if I don't know how many people are playing it, Marvel Snap. I might actually record a bunch of match videos of that. The game's actually pretty fun. I've been enjoying it, so at least enough that I hate that I enjoy it. So I might upload some of that too to the channel.
We all know Kid has to raid. We know it's a fake card out.
Yeah. Just know people, we're working on Weiss.
Wow. Stop calling me out about my raid. It's not my fault they schedule it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right?
We might have Marvel.
It's not my fault they take up half my week.
Oh. And another thing I want to say about like the content on the channel is I think I'll be doing bi-weekly Shadowverse videos just because like I personally want to see that. But Shadowverse Evolve, I think after this horse review, until it comes out in English, I don't think we're going to be uploading more of that. So you don't have to see that in the channel anymore. I can't. There's just not enough interest in it.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. The worst part about Shadowverse Evolve, no matter how enjoyable I think the game is, if there's no community, it's really hard to even play the game.
Yeah,
and it seems like most people play online with fake cards too, and I'm like, I'm not a webcam person or if I'm gonna play a digital card game or like I'm gonna play if I'm gonna play online, I'm gonna play something with a client like Hearthstone or Marvel Snap or Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever the Yu-Gi-Oh client Master Duel, yeah. I'd rather spend the time on that, and if I'm gonna then
So with that said, do you want to like any questions from the chat before we wrap it up?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything, just drop it in chat and we'll try to get to them. But what were you going to say?
I guess we should tell people I guess we should tell people also that we want to do this every Sunday, I believe, is what we said.
It might be easier if I do it every Monday, if you guys are good on Monday. I was actually not. I was very surprised that like Carmen even was here. I thought this was just going to be me and Dean. But
my D&D session ends usually around 9:30, 10.
Carmen let us have the argument thing about length or something.
Yeah, in this very long video, going against your own words, Dean. Checkmate. All right.
It's a podcast. It's allowed to be long.
I also want to let people know, I did not mean to offend. It was a blanket statement of the entire community. It like wasn't meant entirely like thing. But,
you all gotta understand, Dean is completely incapable of saying any of his strong opinions he is passionate about without sounding 100% combative in all ways. So
I just sound
literally impossible. Literally impossible for him to not sound combative. So I don't.
I do recognize
his literally entire opening statement directly shit talked via the content that we make over at the channel, and I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that smiley face offends me, Jason.
Good.
Every time I see that smiley face.
Well, not only that, but like I put out like long content before too. Like I've done those like the Lost Decade and like Million Life Set 1 like set overviews with all the cards, and I like root them up, and that's like long content. Where is a good source of online Weiss games? The Discords. It does suck, but yeah, that's the problem. So J-Dubs, that's my problem too, is my locals is also dying, and I don't know how to revive it.
When people are when literally someone pings card games, if you want to watch better Weiss games, when someone pings card games, just jump in the chat, mute yourself, and watch. Yeah. People might say hello to you. You say hello back, and you just say, just here to watch, and you just watch the game.
So and Darcy, yeah, you just definitely Discord. But Darcy, what I was going to say with the deck profiles, the hard thing with deck profiles is, man, just making them, right? It's like You can go on Encore decks and just okay, never mind, Darcy. I know you make your own decks. Well, or the very least, you don't have to be told the decks, but you just like get the good deck and then you just upload that, and that just feels like, I don't know, deck profiles that weren't like a little bit handcrafted always feel awkward to me.
Handcrafting lists in this game is close to impossible these days, Dean. You and I both know it.
Don't worry, I'll upload my I should upload my TLR deck. Kit knows.
Oh my god, you can.
But from way back when,
dude. Okay, listen, we were ahead of our time when that deck was made. All right, you just got really unlucky. All right, that deck was sick.
So for those that don't know, way back when TLR came out in English, I was distraught over Yami's actual kill potential. And I really liked the Momo Nana like finisher package where you got double burn one. It's 2 burn ones. Mikasa. Mikasa didn't exist yet though. This was like really old, right? And if people didn't know, another thing is the actual deck control of the alien deck is really bad, right? Would you agree with that, Carmen? In English? Well,
wait, doesn't that deck have Azusa? No, that's
no. It only sorry. No. The normal trans housework deck has bad deck control. But Alien had Azusa. I played only 3 green cards, the Brainstorm, the level 1 combo, and the gold bar. And I shoved that in because the power lines at the time were so low that you could get reverses with this. And then I played the Alien package for the rest. So I had like runners at 0, on reverse level 1 combo, and then I went into the Momo. Yeah, the alien transformation deck. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that was a thing back then because there wasn't a lot of online deck profiles at the time. I don't think we really had a place to show decks. And I just remember like playing that deck against Kit, and he was on Sal, and I'm like, oh man, I get to do the thing. Like it felt like a deck. Went to a tournament, man. It didn't feel like a deck. I got walled out every game.
Oh yeah, you got walled out. That's what screwed your matchups, right? But we played like what 5 games or something with Sal, and I think I won a majority of them. But like the deck was actually kind of yeah, the deck was like functioning and scary. Like,
and I thought it was cool.
It was. I legit think it was a pretty decent deck. Like, but you got unlucky as usual.
But see, that was a deck. See, I felt like I made that deck.
Yeah.
So, you know.
All right, you guys got anything else you want to talk? I got about like at most 5 minutes.
Hit the like button. Thank you everyone who came out. Hit the share button. Share this on everything you got. Share it to your grandma. Share it to your neighbor. Like just go hand people like your phone with this on it. Make sure you get us out there.
Yep. Also, I was recently in contacts with Takaki Kidani, the CEO of Bushiroad. If you guys watch our Shadowverse Evolve stuff, you'll hear me talk to him on the video. He promised me that if everyone watching right now likes and subscribes to this video channel, that he will personally make sure Shadowverse Evolves comes to English. So, but everyone has to like it.
Glide as naturally as he breathes.
Oh, and even if you don't, I do feel like we did a good. I felt like that was a fun set review.
That actually, long, it's really long because we actually had to talk about every card because it's not like Weiss where we can go. This vanilla is vanilla. Yeah.
It's long. I can't watch it.
Yep, it's true.
I understand, Carmen. I myself would not watch it, but I think that we did it. I had fun recording it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to talk about and everything. Looking at I actually want to buy the horse deck now because it seems really cool.
I want to get off that gold ship combo.
The gold ship combo. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess that's it, right? Nothing. Oh no, I just knocked over a okay, anyway. I gotta pick up this mess on the floor now. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we peace out?
No, that's it. I think I'm gonna start pinging people and start recording good content. Well, not tonight. Tonight's too late, but.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. I know this was like a sudden stream out of nowhere. Like we said, I guess next Monday we should have another stream around the same time. gonna always kind of shoot for about 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, right? Maybe a little sooner than that. But thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that garbage. Hopefully we follow through on the content stuff, because this game has been very boring, at least for us.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Dean, once again, trying to carry everyone on his back. We'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, and I just published the 3rd video for the Shadow vs. Evolve review. If you guys are interested in that, I'm sure none of you are. Go ahead and give it a watch. It's some fun stuff. Have a good night, everyone.